Hey everybody, how's it going?
Oh, sorry guys, I was muted. Classic. The Zoom era mute. So thanks everyone for joining us. It's day 3 of the Paralympic Olympic team trials, and I'm joined by my former teammate, the chair of the Domestic Development Committee for Sprint, Pierre-Luc. Bonjour. Good
Morning,
morning.
morning, Ian. How's it going?
It's great, and you can see a little bit in the background that it's a beautiful morning here again. The sun is shining today, and about 11 or 12 degrees already. And the crews are all headed up to the start line for this next group of very, very exciting races that are going to be coming up this morning. So, Pierre-Luc, how are you doing, and have you been enjoying the competition so far?
Yeah, I mean, super excited first 2 days. Obviously, whenever you have Olympic quotas and Paralympic quotas on the line, it makes it for extra a little bit of extra pressure, and for us, the spectators, it makes it really exciting. So it was great to see the athletes out there. It's been a long time since we saw some canoe kayak races, so it's really fun to get that going again. So yeah, very exciting first 2 days so far. Looking to see that continue today with a lot of really great events, and then just a lot more fast racing, especially with great conditions like that.
Yeah, it's been exciting, and I think Pierre, I'm going to do a quick little recap for everyone because it's not as it's not super intuitive sometimes with the two finals. So day 1 and 2, we had a set of events, and we had final 1 and final 2 for those events, and we had one very exciting race off yesterday afternoon to decide the women's C1. And sort of today we're starting fresh with a slate of events where we'll have heats and semis, and then to final 1. And then after we race the final 1 today, we'll race a final 2 tomorrow with those same 6 athletes that make the final. And in each event, it will be the best 2 out of 3. So if there's 2 winners at lunch by lunchtime tomorrow, we'll go to a third and deciding final tomorrow afternoon. So that's the general format. And all the events from here on out are events that we have not yet officially secured quota spots for. So like we spoke about, we had secured the women's K4 and the women's C1 quota spot. But now all these events, we are still with COVID changes that are still unfolding, waiting to see the confirmation of our quota spots. But it's still, this is an extremely critical point in the qualification process here as they try to secure these wins.
Yeah, and maybe Ian to expand on that. So winners from here get a chance to basically go potentially to Europe and then face the best of the best, and from there there'll be an assessment to decide who gets to represent Canada at the Olympics. So this is the first step on a long process, but a really critical one, as you said. So exciting day ahead for sure.
So let's take a look at the draw and get fired up for this first race this morning. It's going to be an exciting one right off the bat, Pierre-Luc.
Yeah, so we're starting
after
with two finals this morning, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You're correct, right? And the first race is features the two Katie and Laurence who were part of the race off yesterday afternoon, and now they're back racing together in a crew together, which will be exciting in a strong field. And then we move into women's K2 500 meter final right after that, then back into some heats.
Yeah, so we'll go through men's C1 following that, and then the 1,000 meters, then followed by men's K1 200 meters heats, and then the women's K1 500. So the women will go back in K1 after their race in K2 a little bit later today, and then there'll be a break, and then following that it'll be the same kind of schedule coming back for semis for those events. And then the finals are later today, and on top of that, there is a final at the end of the day for a men's K2000. So a lot of these athletes would have raced yesterday in K1000 as well.
So
So
here's the
seeing on the
lineup.
screen, yeah,
Yeah.
go
Here's
ahead.
the lineup, Pierre-Luc. Yeah, we have in lane 2, Rowan Hardy-Kavanagh and Anna Loisier racing in lane 2. In lane 3, Katie Vincent, Laurence Vincent Lapointe teamed up together. Lane 4, Sophia Jensen and Julia Lilio Sunday, the reigning junior world champions, two-time junior world champions, and another incredible crew in women's canoe. And in lane 5, a junior crew, Ella Hodgson-Pajot and Evie McDonald, both finalists yesterday, Pierre-Luc, in
Mhm.
those two finals and putting in amazing performances. So I think we're all pretty excited to watch this race, and incredible depth here in this C2 field.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all these crews have had some international experience racing for Canada at different stages. Um, Rowan and Anna at the Pan Am Games last year. Katie and Laurence have been world champions multiple times and world record holder, and it looks like we have a start now. So the race is just getting kicked off. Great start here by the red boat down here of Anna and Rowan, I believe.
Yeah, and so I'll just Anna and Rowan are in the inside in the red boat. That white and red boat with the double left is, of course, Katie and Laurence. To their right, in the red shirts, black pants, white boat is and Julia Lilly. Sunday and Ella and Evie are on the outside. So just coming out of the nice sunrise here, a little tough to see, but I think you can see Katie and Laurence setting a strong pace together in C2. Right beside them, Sophia and Julia, another super strong crew.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count out the crew on the inside in that red boat as you saw before. Like that crew's raced internationally before, so it'll be great to see if they can push Lance and Katie here as well and show them through a strong finish. So but we're seeing really good glide and really good rhythm from all these crews at the moment, especially with good weather like that. It's crucial to really make sure that you're getting a lot of power on the blade and really making sure that you're using the glide of the boat and not spinning too much by trying to put as many strokes as you can. But really tight race here between those two crews in the middle, and I'd be excited to see where that third crew is racking up as well. Ian, what kind of
Yeah,
goes through
quick.
your mind here for C2 500 when you get in the middle like this?
Well, I mean, now they're trying to find the power together, I think, and for us watching, we're waiting to see this as we come through just around 200 meters, just past 200 meters to go, where these boats are shaping up. We get the view from the side here.
Yeah, and
See the
it looks
strong
about
catch
half a
of both
boat, right?
Katie and Laurence. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And both these crews are so strong. Just amazing level here. Really great race from Sophia and Julia
yeah, and
coming
seeing
through.
Lance and Katie pick up the race a little bit here, just trying to drive towards the end, and
Oh,
oh man, real close
what
here.
a race! What a race, Pierre-Luc, and
Yeah,
a
so
tight
really
race for.
strong push from there.
Oh man, what a race! Incredible effort from all these athletes. You see Katie and
Yeah,
Laurence, who just raced the race off yesterday evening, and I am just so impressed with Sophia and Julia Lilio Sunday on the
and looking
line on
here,
the
so that
replay.
yeah, that line is between those white buoys as we're seeing. So really close finish here. Shows a lot of depth for the women's canoe program. As you said, Sophia and Julia being junior world champion and the senior world champions kind of going head to head here, and the gap is narrowing as we're looking at this. So great to see for the future as well. So this is the first win for Katie and Laurence, as we said. They'll have to do this again tomorrow in the C2 to get their second win overall. And then, should it be a different crew, then we would be set up for another race off scenario tomorrow afternoon. But congratulations to all these women out there. That was extremely good racing.
I'm buzzing over here, Pierre Luc. On that was an incredible race. I think you see Laurence there, like she went as hard as she could to have two crews pushing each other at that level. I'm so impressed with all these athletes, and as we've
Mhm.
seen, all these crews are going to go back, speak with their coaches, reset ahead of the second final tomorrow. So this is shaping up to be very exciting. And as you said, also great performances by lane 2 and lane 5, Anawa and Rowan and Evie and Ella. It's important to remember what we're watching here is the very best level. And in this chilly water, Pierre-Luc,
Yeah,
2:02
that's
this
that.
morning.
Yeah, some good
Incredible.
fast times here as we're seeing. So cold water makes you a bit slower, no tailwind. So seeing some strong performance here to start the year. It's also been a really long time since these women got to race. A lot of provinces you can't race crew boats or you can't paddle crew boats. Where the team was lucky enough to be able to train together in BC for a while and being able to actually get back in those boats and be able to get ready for these really, really important trials. So kudos to the whole program. These four crews have been training together for a while, and it's really showing with some strong performances here.
And just Pierre-Luc, just to stay on this slide for a second, we just an incredible to have two crews doing 202 this morning is just a great, an incredible kickoff to the C2 competition here, and just an incredible effort, and congratulations to both crews as I'm seeing them come in here to the boat control, and everyone seems like a little tired from their performance, but they seem happy, and it's a what a kickoff. I mean, I know Pierre-Luc, we're doing a lot here with our protocols and a schedule that requires some pretty tough racing. So I'm impressed with all these athletes to, at 8:30 in the morning here. It was warm, but not as warm as a summer regatta. And for them to crank out those times, it's incredible.
And it's also different, right? So this competition is being held in a bubble environment. So normally athletes would have their families around them at trials, would have their personal coach or club coaches around as well. In this environment, it's a much smaller event. So it takes a lot more mental fortitude to be able to regroup, being able to do that with your national team coach, your teammate, your partner in a crew boat. But it's really a lot more focused on the individual here, which is similar to an international competition. So it's a good test ahead of the Olympic and Paralympic season this year. And it's kudos to the team really being able to set up the athletes in a camp environment and in a competition there with our partners at Canoe Kayak BC and everything helping make this happen.
So great. We can catch our breath a little bit.
Yeah, after that. I think the next race is in about 10 more minutes now. So we might take a small break, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll come back. Or do you want to stay on the whole time and then?
Well, we'll just see here. I think PL I think we might as well stay on.
Sure.
We'll stay on for we're on till it's at 8:45 here, so that's in about 10 minutes. I think it might be good.
Just and maybe what we can do, Ian, we can do a bit of a recap of yesterday or the last 2 days, maybe if people haven't had a chance to tune in, because I know it was the weekdays and things like that, and you may have seen on social and things, but yesterday secured qualification for 6 athletes. First of all, the women's K4 500. So Alana Bray-Lougheed from Burloak Canoe Club, Andréane Langlois du Club de Canot de Trois-Rivières, Michelle Russell from Chima, and Madeline Schmidt from Rideau won their second final in K4 500, and that secured their spot for the Tokyo Olympics. So very exciting and great moment for them. Following that, as you mentioned earlier, exciting C1 races and Katie winning the second final of the women's C1 200, Katie from the Mississauga Canoe Club, and that 4-day race-off that took place in the afternoon between Katie and Laurence, the winner of the first final. And in that extremely close race, Katie just edged out Laurence during the race and secured her spot through that. So it was very exciting, and Katie's birthday was actually yesterday, so quite a nice birthday present, I believe, through that as well. And then finally, we also had Andrea Nelson as part of the para program from the Balmy Beach Canoe Club. Second great performance in securing her spot there for the Tokyo Paralympic Games that will take place in September. So a whole cohort of athletes that just push through 2 races. It's super stressful to get back out there when the Olympics and the Paralympics are on the line. So kudos to all of them and congratulations on their qualification.
Yeah, and I think PL, it's super important that I just keep being so impressed with all the athletes, all the effort they put into to be here, and I've been around the team for about 20 years, and I've never seen such a group effort and a cohesion of everyone to push together to make this possible, and so it's so tough, PL, as you know. Always in sport, but it's pretty intense, winning and losing and qualifying and not qualifying here. But I think, on myself and all the officials and all the coaches and all the community I know are just so proud of every single one of these people. And that circle of pride extends all the way out to the families and the coaches and the volunteers and the club commodores and the treasurers and everyone that makes this possible. I mean, we're so proud and appreciative of everyone's efforts to make this possible. And
Yeah.
I'm always struck that what a community we have. So it's just I'm really excited, and I know I was getting messages. I'm sure you were, Pierre Luc, or you were messaging me, but from all sorts of alumni and people that from across the country. Maybe we'll take a look at a couple. I think in a little bit we'll take a look at a couple social media posts of people that were chiming in. So Rideau Canoe Club, they're always active on their social media accounts. So anyone that's using hashtag We Paddle, we'll try to get you up on the screen. We can have a little interaction. They're chiming in. Karen Furneaux, world champion, Olympian, chiming in, saying hello, watching canoe kayak. Louise Heinz Schmidt, Maddie's mom, very proud, I'm sure. Tom Hoffrick, also a paddler from the Rideau Canoe Club, chiming in, and Katie's dad, Paul Vincent. Hello, Paul, from the Blue Mountains and from Dartmouth, the heartland of paddling in Canada, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Great to hear from them. Mike Troner fans, which we all are, fans of our whole, and Pierre Luc. We didn't even talk about the performances yesterday in the para events. An incredible
Yeah.
improvement by all our para athletes. When we were sort of reflecting at the end of the day yesterday, the drops in times, the incredible performances. So it's incredible, and I think now it's time to gear up, PL, for this next race here. This is the women's K2. It's a final.
Yep. So lots of good crews here. Some senior crews, some under 23 crews trying to get a lot of experience out there and potentially push the pace ahead of the U23 World Championships that are scheduled later this year. So in lane 1, we have the crew of Adriana Lilia Sande and Grace Webby. Lane 3, Lisa Bissonnette and Madeline Schmidt. In lane 4, Natalie Davidson and Courtney Stott. In lane 5, Sarah Nagy and Anna Negulich. And in lane 6, Marion Bradley and Alexa Irvin. So a lot of good crews here. All these women would have raced K4 yesterday, I think, and so got some experience. So the jitters are out a little bit and ready to really put some strong performances here. So it'll be quite exciting to see. Some of these crews haven't raced before. It's been a while since K2s have been raced nationally or internationally, so it'll be good to see if the cohesion is clicking as people are getting off the line and really transitioning into that good race pace. So this is a 500 meters again. So a bit of a longer race than what we saw yesterday in the K1 200 for a lot of these women.
So a couple things. We're 3 minutes to start, Pierre Luc, and you'll note there was a scratch this morning of lane 2. So people will note that when we go through the lanes. Andriane and Alana have scratched this morning out of the not focusing on the K2 after their win yesterday in K4. So there will be an empty lane in lane 2. That you see here, Lisa Bissonnette quickly and Maddie Schmidt up there warming up. And again, a shot of the race course here. So everyone circling around. That looks like lane 1. Adriana Lilio Sunday and Grace Webby, they're going to be in lane 1 in the white boat, both from representing Micmac Aquatic Club on Lake Bannock. Shout out to Lake Bannock and Micmac, I'm sure, watching this morning.
Yeah, and it looks a lot warmer than yesterday, just not being at the course, but I know you are. But yesterday saw a lot of toques and pogies and everything racing, so it's good to see a little bit of warmer temperature, so athletes are a bit freer to move and it's a little bit easier to warm up overall. But you're seeing the boats here back up to the line, so we have those floating docks with people able to hold the boat so that we have an even line. That's something that we used to use a long time ago, but then start system became a bit of a norm. So kind of a bit of a flash of the past here as we're looking at that setup, getting ready for the K2 500 meter final. And again, this is the first of 2 final, so really important to secure that first win ahead of tomorrow's deciding final as part of the Olympic process here. It's a nice shot here of the calm water as all the athletes are taking place at the start line, and then looking for that gun to go. So we're seeing the crew out there just backing up into their block, and then the starter will hold the race and then call this into a fair start, hopefully, so that these athletes can go and race their heart out. So as Ian mentioned, that lane 2 here has been scratched, and that's why you're seeing an empty lane between some of these boats this morning. So I think for people that haven't necessarily raced at the Olympic trials, this is a pretty stressful moment, as you may imagine. But the best thing these athletes can do is just focus, right? They've done a lot of starts, they've done a lot of racing, so it's just getting ready to hear the gun go, and then relax as you kind of set into your traveling pace here during this final. And here we go. It looks like a clean start from everybody here. Really strong and powerful moves by the crews here in the middle, and it'll be great to see if the outside can go and challenge, especially here in lane 1. They have a bit of buffer, so they're kind of on their own on the side and be able to see if they can just focus on themselves and come from the outside. So strong rate here from the middle. We're seeing them settle into their traveling pace coming off the line here and really trying to get as much boat glide as they can. Really coming together and putting a lot of emphasis on power on the blade and really trying to glide as much as possible. And it looks like those two crews in the middle here are really going head to head, gaining a little bit of a lead at this moment and trying to push that as they enter the second half.
I'll do a quick rundown. So top of the screen, lane 6 is Marin and Alexa. Next to them, Sarah and Anna. Natalie and Courtney are in lane 4, just in the white boat there. And beside them to the left are Lisa and Maddie Schmidt, and a gap in 2, and then Adriana and Grace are on the inside. Looks like a battle here, Pierre-Luc, between lanes 3 and 4.
Yeah,
tough with the angle. Looks like Lisa and Maddie powering up now. A very great race here with Natalie and Courtney.
Yeah,
all veteran paddlers, experienced paddlers.
And the rate's coming up here a little bit, so it'll be good to see who's able to make that final push and really drive to the finish line. But it still looks incredibly close between those two boats as we're coming up to the line here. And then we'll pan to the shot a little bit to the finish line. But it looks like Courtney and the white boat here might have been able to grab a little bit of an edge, but we'll see as we pan out. And yeah, just about half a boat here closing this out. So strong second half here by that crew after a really, really narrow lead at the 250. And then finishing up here, we're seeing the other 3 crews wrapping up their race here. So congrats to everybody driving to the finish here. And we can see here all the power coming as they drive to the line and making sure that they securely go across as they finish their last few strokes. But really tight race, so it sets it up for an exciting second final tomorrow morning to secure that really crucial win as part of this Olympic process.
So here's a shot of Maddie and Lisa just taking a breath, and Alexa and Marin cruising by after their race in lane 6 there. Everyone will circle around, come into boat control, take some deep breaths after what looked like a tough race out there. I know all these crews, Pierre-Luc, are strong. They're going to go in and reset, and there's also some heats, some events, other women's kayak events today, so it's going to be a busy day for some of these athletes.
Yeah, a lot of them would have 4 races today, so it's going to be really crucial to move into recovery now. And now you're seeing the athletes paddle up the lake and doing a bit of a cool down there to flush out some of that lactic acid. But then they'll come in and really make sure they get some good nutrition, good water, and then shake it out a little bit before they head back out for their women's K1 heats later on. And then we can see here the results are popping on the screen. So confirmation that Natalie and Courtney took the win here in a 147.9, followed by Lisa and Madeline Schmidt in a 149 flat. Marin and Alexa closed with the podium with a 154.3. And then Sarah, Anna, and Adri and Grace rounding up the field here. So congrats to all these women. And it'll be good to see if that field gets shaken up tomorrow now that these women have their first race under their belt. in the K2.
Yeah, and a great opportunity to get out there in the K2 boats that we haven't raced yet this weekend, and a good first win, as we said, for that crew. And I think Pierre Luc, there's as we learned yesterday. There's lots of racing always to be had, and everyone's going to recoup and get ready for more final. So with that, I think we are holding off on interviews right now. We'll be doing some interviews later after finals, but electing, because there's such a busy schedule today for all these athletes, we're going to let everyone go through all their post-race cool downs and everything they need to do to stay sharp, and we'll be doing our interviews this afternoon. So we are going to take a little bit of a break, Pierre-Luc, but we will be back. And our next just so everyone's aware, our next race is at 9:30 here, so in about 50 minutes. So we'll be back in about half an hour to head up to the 1,000-meter start line for some C1 heats. So thanks, everyone. Merci à tous. And à bientôt. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Pierre.
The song our paddles sing in the stillness tells the story of a country. It's a song born here that echoes through history. A note to distance, the unknown. We sweat, burn, push, and fight, not for money, glory, or accolades, because it reminds us of who we are. Screw loose daredevils and romantic obsessives, most ourselves in the rage and the whip and the whirl, or the reflective silence, before the gun goes. Then we know we're home.
Hey, Ian.
We're back.
We
Great
are
to see you
back.
again, Pierre-Luc, live from Dartmouth,
Yeah.
one coast of the country to the other.
Mm-hmm. And hello
It's
everyone who's joining us on the stream. Bon matin tout le monde si vous joignez à nous ce matin pour des courses qui sont super excitantes avec les éliminatoires de ces 1000 mètres, K1 200 mètres et de femmes K1 500 mètres qui s'en viennent. So yeah,
But-
great to have everybody back for these exciting races that are coming up.
Yeah, it's great to get messages from lots of you and to keep sharing with hashtag We Paddle. We can highlight some of the fans and family watching across the country. We appreciate the messages. And Pierre, it's always nice to bring the community together and watch these amazing races. You and I were just chatting how it's just so nice to see paddling, and I'm sure it's getting everyone getting the itch to get on the water across the country. So I think spring is around the corner, and we're also obviously all hopeful that we're turning the corner on COVID, and soon we'll be able to all get back out there racing and safely and doing what we love. So it's great to see. For sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know, like, depending where you are in Canada, clearly in BC, it's paddleable. Nova Scotia, I think lakes are starting to open a little bit, and then it's probably going to freeze again everywhere else for a little bit, but it will come fairly quickly, and it's a pretty exciting time in the spring for everybody to be able to get back out there with the proper safety measures and everything.
With our PFDs on. Yeah, so we're 5 minutes to start there.
Degrees, right?
we're 5 minutes to start here, and I just watched our C1 athletes head up from the dock here after some last minute boat weighing, and we're going to see here Pierre-Luc C1 1,000 meter heats. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see these athletes after they raced C2 for the last couple days to get into their C1 boats and get ready for some action in these heats.
Yeah, and Canada's always had a really strong tradition in men's C1000. So exciting to see who's going to take up the mantle there and win this race this morning. These heats are progression to semifinals a little bit later, and then there'll be a final later this afternoon. The winner of each of the heats this morning will progress directly to the final, though, I believe. I think that's the progression. So there's something on the line
Correct.
here this morning for the winners. So you should see athletes push pretty hard to try to secure their spot in the final, given that it reduces a bit the level of risk and effort of having to race an extra semifinal in the same day. And thousands are quite demanding physically, so it's good to be able to skip that one in the middle of the day if possible.
And I think we'll also look here, Pierre-Luc, for these athletes to just be testing out their race plans a bit, getting the feel for the race course and where they're at. They've all been training hard together, but as we know, racing's always different. So here's the lineup, Pierre-Luc. In lane 2 is Andrew Billard from Masqua, U23 athlete, an excellent C1 paddler who was first in the B final in 2019 at the Junior World Championships. And I'm sure he's excited, and all of Masqua is watching and excited to see Andrew again back on the race course. In lane 3, Connor Fitzpatrick, who we saw get the win in C2 in a close race yesterday from Sonobe. We're going to see Connor out in C1 today. Stephen Frogem from the Rideau Canoe Club in 4, and Brett Himmelman rounding out a 4-boat heat from Masqua as well.
Yeah, and it'll be exciting to see Brett and Andrew, a lot of endurance. Steve, a bit more of a speedster here, so different strategies at play as we're going through. And Connor's been quite successful at the C1000 over the last few years, ramping up and starting to win some big races in Canada. So a really strong field here. I'm a bit biased given I'm currently a member of the Master Canoe Club, so aquatic club, pardon me. So it'll be exciting to see if those two athletes can push the pack there. Um, so yeah, excited to see who might drag me in C4 if we get the paddle a little bit later this year.
Yeah, and it's all of these events are so exciting, and to see 1000, we are going to see a new entry for Canada. We know that at the Olympics, there's no one in the field here that's raced for Canada at the Olympics before, and so it's a new generation. But they're certainly not. They're standing on the shoulders and getting the torch from incredible athletes from the canoe program. Most recently from Mark Oldershaw, an incredible leader of this team and a leader of our entire team for 20 years. Incredible athlete, bronze medalist in London, but just an outstanding athlete and leader. And with Mark, the tradition of Tom Hall, Richard Dalton, Steve Giles, Larry Kane, John Wood. It's just an incredible lineage of champions in the C1 1000 meter event, and excited here to see who takes up that mantle for sure. And I know our alumni community and our teammates are former and family, and everyone's watching. So that's lane 5. That's Brett Himmelman with the white boat lining up. We can see him just lining up there. He'll be on the outside. Lane 4, just on the screen there, was Stephen Frogem.
There in 3 is now.
Yeah, he's got his Shinobi blue on with a black boat. He's lining up, and then Andrew Billard is on the end.
Yeah, there he is in lane 1 with his white boat and maple leaf there up front. So
they're just under starters orders at this point.
And 1,000 meters, about a 4-minute race, maybe a bit more here given the cold water. So it'll be it's a test of endurance. And here we go, clean start off the line, and really seeing Connor and Andrew here kick off the line really fast as they head down the course. Really trying to make that boat glide as much as possible. Again, key to this 1,000 meter is to relax and let the boat work for you. The boat wants to glide, and if you're fighting it too much, you're burning energy for no reason. So it's a fine line of trying too hard and letting the boat work. And that's really what's difficult about this sport, is finding the right pressure that you need to put on the blade and the amount of energy that you're putting on every stroke, especially down the 1,000 meter. It's a really strong field here as we're going through, all going through about the same rate, I think, as we're seeing from across the field. Good glide across, and Connor really looking like he's taking it out pretty hard here. I'm trying to establish himself maybe into the lead early, especially knowing that Steve's a strong starter.
So I'll just check in for everyone. That's Brett Himmelman on your screen on the left. Next to him, on the screen to the right, is Steve Frogem, and then Connor Fitzpatrick, the right-sided paddler there with those strong strokes, and then all the way on the inside, just on the screen, is Andrew Billard. So coming through now, just coming up to the 500 meter mark.
Yeah, and these guys would have had a number of showdowns against each other, so they know each other, they know what works and what kind of strategies, but they also have to focus on themselves and executing their best race plan as possible. So really seeing a strong showing here from Connor. Similar strategy to a C2 yesterday, really powerful, making sure that he's gliding through the first 500, and it'll be interesting to see if they can all start kicking into a high gear. Seeing Brett putting a bit of a challenge here through the middle of the race as well. As we said, winner will go straight to the final, and the other guys will move to a semifinal. So there'll be an opportunity for them to continue to race throughout the day to make this final later today. But we can see really good conditions. The Rockies in the back. It's really a bit of a blessing to be able to race on this course here and have the opportunity to host these Olympic trials in BC, given the current conditions and everything. So thanks for everyone
Look
for
at that
putting that
amazing
together.
shot. What an amazing shot coming down. It's so beautiful here in Burnaby, and look at the mountains in the distance. So we're seeing a strong heat here, very strong from Connor. I think what you're seeing is everyone trying to get feel for the water, Pierre-Luc, and to work through these seedings for what could be a quite intense semifinal.
Yeah, that semifinal will be key because the people that advance to the final will have a chance to compete in that second final. But if you do not advance, your Olympic journey ends for the C1000 at that point. So it's quite a critical step this morning to qualify for that final. And we're seeing Steve pick up the pace a little bit here, trying to maybe just feel what would happen at this stage of the race if he was to make a push and really prepare and see how the boat reacts at that point. But Connor's really gliding and controlling this race as we're going through. Brett on the outside does pick up his stroke rate a little bit on the left-hand side of your screen, trying to feel that finish and push the pace a little bit as well.
Yeah, it looks like Brett came to play this morning. He wanted to put some effort out there. It's good to see, and Stephen as well hanging in there. Strong strokes from Connor. Looks under control.
Yeah, and it's always important to, even though like you may not be winning this race, to really get a good feel and understand what kind of effort you're able to put through. That first good lung burn in C1, I always found was a good way to set up the rest of your day. So really important to go through the motions and doing this right and keeping your technique really strong here. And we're going to have a good race for a second here for placing in the semifinal as they come to the line.
Yeah, looks like Stephen picking up at the finish.
Yeah, and very close here.
Good effort from the guys. Yeah.
Yeah. A really clean race here to kick off this C1000 meter first heat. Clean race by Connor, taking the win here. So they'll proceed to boat control now and validate everything. So you can see Connor here just finishing up cleanly. Really strong strokes and clean paddling here. And then Steve really coming with a higher stroke rate at the end and shooting his boat a little bit earlier than Brett. And who knows, maybe nipping for second place here. But good to see some speed there at the end of the race, regardless. So these athletes will now move into recovery and get ready for the second for the semifinal that will be held at 1 p.m. Burnaby time, and then we'll get geared up to go back up to the 1,000 in about 5 minutes to watch the second heat of the men's C1000. And Ian, you've raced this event quite a bit, and obviously, and have raced this at Olympic trials and in a number of occasions. What's the mindset as you're going up the course, really thinking about this in the first race of the day? It's not do or die on this one, but what's the kind of thought process that these athletes are going through?
Well, I think, and now we're just seeing up on the screen a nice 4:10 for Connor with that controlled pace, and 4:15.16 for those guys. So I think just quickly, all of these athletes will be happy with that effort this morning out there on Burnaby Lake. Olympic trials is a bit of a different beast. It's intense, as you know, Pierre-Luc, and it's an occasion where you really, the focus is focusing on what you can control, what you've been working on in the months and weeks leading up to this event, and looking to execute on that plan, and just bring your confidence with you. You know, these are all amazing athletes that have worked super hard, and you know, that I think they're trying to key in on their key focuses that they need to focus on, their race plan, and stay calm. I always like to remind myself how much I enjoyed paddling, and you know, think back to the regattas. I grew up in Eastern Ontario Division, so I always would think about Carleton Place Regatta or Gann Regatta or North Bay Regatta, and same for you, Pierre-Luc, Otterburn Regatta, and just remember how long you've been doing this and why you love it, and that you are an expert and you're good at it, and to lean into your strengths of what you love about the sport. And I think we heard that even from some interviews yesterday. It comes down to the end. You know, we've done the work, and it's about now executing and putting it all out there.
Yeah, and Olympic trials is interesting too, in the sense that the winner will end up going or will race internationally and all of that, and because you've been training against each other or with each other for so long, that it ends up being, if it's not you, it's one of your best buddies that ends up going, and to some extent, you've been part of that journey and pushing them to be that best athlete that's going to go and represent the country. So, as much as it's an individual race here, it's the whole program pushing that athlete that will end up winning that A final later today. So we're seeing here the second heat this morning. So in lane 2, we'll have Alex Planteux du Club de Canoë-Kayak du Lac Beauport near Quebec City. Drew Hodges in lane 3 from the Rideau Canoe Club. Craig Spence from the Chima Aquatic Club. And then Mark James from Sinobi as well. So strong field here. All these athletes having some great experience. Alex coming up, just like racing in the last few years, and becoming one of those staple on the senior scene as well. So great to see some new faces on the team and pushing the guys as much as possible. So we're seeing the boats here on the far left in the white and red is Mark James. We're not quite seeing Craig here, but this is Drew on the screen now with his yellow, blue, and white boat in lane 3. And then on the far right here would be Alex, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's Alex on the inside. Younger athlete, just newly senior, and Alex has been doing super well and a great athlete from Lac Beauport. Salut de Georges Delisle, my friend. I'm sure George is watching, and the whole team at Lac Beauport. And it'll be great to see how Alex stacks up with everyone, all these older athletes. And like you said, the quality here, Pierre-Luc, is so high. The experienced athletes. There's Alex in 2 with his Lac Beauport jersey on. Nice to see.
Yeah, I always like when athletes end up. I was going to say, I always like when athletes put their club jerseys on here, and especially at these big races, they get to choose what they want to wear, and just recognizing where you came from and the support of your club is. I always thought that was great when we get to see that. So big shout out to Lac Beauport here.
So here we are lined up. Here's Drew just holding on the line. And I was just saying that the experience level here, Pierre-Luc, of these athletes, it's racing for years together, training for years together, and they're off.
Yeah, and we're off. You can see a clean start here. Craig is in lane in the farthest to the right, or second farthest to the right here, racing with his Dartmouth colored boat of the yellow, the white, and the blue. And off to a strong start here. Craig's a veteran in the C1000, has raced this internationally quite a bit. Including at World Cups and some World Championships. So he's got some experience here. And his partner from the C2 in the middle, Drew Hodges, yesterday, you would have seen those two with a strong second place, pushing the pace with a very strong competitive, in a strong competitive race. So really exciting here to see everybody kind of come off the line. And Drew's typically keeping a little bit of a higher stroke rate, as you can see here, and really using that fitness that he has to push the pace through the middle.
Yeah, you see Drew here setting. I'm sure Drew wanted to set a strong pace, get out, feeling strong. He's got Craig just to his right. They obviously know each other well. C2 partners, have been training together for a couple of years and through this winter, and just looking like we saw with this morning, or just in the race before with Connor, looking to set their pace.
Yeah, it really looks like Drew is going for it here.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes the strategy, is to feel good, get out there, set the tone for yourself, and feel how you want to feel out there on this race course. And it's nice to see all these athletes working through their race plan. Drew's got a strong catch there, turning the stroke over quickly, taking the paddle out nice and early, just moving the boat well here. Coming through the 500-meter mark. You see Alex here in 2. Looks like putting together a race, a strong race as well.
Yeah, and you spoke about that confidence before, like just being able to build throughout the day, setting yourself up right with this race here. So Drew's making a good statement that he's here to race, and will definitely be good to watch in the final a little bit later. And the other guys here just working on different elements as they're going through, building the right pieces so that they're able to show up strong in the second half of this race and later in the day as well. So great showing by these 4 athletes to begin here. And it's good to see some 2 rights and 2 lefts out there, keeping the program balanced to some extent.
Yeah, it looks good, and I think strong race here. These guys are really looking to set up the rest of their day, and we've talked about it a bit, Pierre. I mean, a lot of this Olympic trials is mental, is a huge element along with physical, and everyone has their own plan they want to set for how this day is going to go, how they're going to feel, and just setting up, doing different pickups, doing different race plans in these heats to set things up. Drew's coming through here. He's past the 200-meter mark now.
Yeah, just coming into the last half of the race and really trying to, at that point when it burns a lot, and trying to keep the rate up, keep the race going, and really making sure that you're keeping those hips moving and the boat continues to glide. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, but it's easy to try too hard in a canoe, and that usually ends up slowing you down a bit more. So it's finding that line between working and letting the boat work for you. And Drew's doing a good job at that here. And yeah, strong lead here, and we can see Alex just coming towards the last 100 meters here, really keeping his glide together, and as we're seeing Drew close the line here for the win in the second heat of the men's C1000 and securing his spot to the final later this afternoon. Strong second place here by Alex Bronter in lane 2, and then Craig coming in third here, followed by Mark Zanobi here closing the field. Yeah,
it's a good race. I think just going to take a look at the schedule here, Pierre-Luc. We have a bit of a break, but I thought before we went, Pierre-Luc, because we have the 2 race format, and I have the pleasure of speaking with you today, je pense que c'est une bonne idée pour expliquer les 2 finales, finale 1 et finale 2 en français pour tous sur la live stream aujourd'hui, Pierre. So I was wondering if you could just provide a bit of an explanation in French, just so we all understand the format of how this is working with the 2 finals.
Yeah, no problem. Oui, donc en fait, le format de la fin de semaine, c'est toutes les courses sont des 2 de 3. Donc ce matin, il y a plusieurs éliminatoires, des semi-finales qui vont amener vers des finales plus tard dans la journée. Ces finales-là vont être la première de 2 finales. Donc il y en a une autre de cédulée demain matin. Et s'il y a 2 différents gagnants dans chacune de ces finales-là, on aura droit à un race-off plus tard dans la journée de demain. Et cette 3e finale serait en fait pour déterminer le gagnant de toute la compétition. Donc, chaque course est importante, mais les finales deviennent de plus en plus importantes étant donné que ça prend 2 victoires dans la même course pour pouvoir avancer dans les différentes sélections olympiques et paralympiques qui auront lieu durant le reste de l'année. Donc, c'est quelque chose vraiment d'important de continuer à bâtir. Donc, toutes les courses que vous voyez, donc si vous regardez l'horaire aujourd'hui et demain, se ressemblent beaucoup, étant donné que ça permet d'avoir la première et la 2e finale dans cette partie de la fin de semaine.
Merci. Thanks, Pierre, and thanks for the explanation. Here's the times: 4:10 for Drew as well, and I'm pretty sure just now we saw Connor come down and win his heat in 4:10 as well. So all signs are kind of pointing towards a great battle. Encore une très bonne course pour Alex ce matin, 4:17. I think Alex will be happy how he felt out there, and Craig and Mark going to the semi. Likely part of their plan to go to the semi, use it as to tool up for the final. The final is the race. I always used to think, these are preliminaries to get there, and certainly it's important, and that semi is going to be pretty well contested. But all eyes will be on the final.
The semifinal will have 6 athletes in it. We just saw that there were 3 that did not make the final in each of the heats, but only 4 of those semifinalists will move on to the final. So people will really push to try to secure their spot in the final. So it should be quite an exciting race when we come back at 1 Burnaby time for that men's C1000 semi. In the meantime, we do have a bit of a break until the men's K1 200 heats at 10:25 and 10:30, and then the women's K1 500 heat that will take place at 11:15, 11:20, and 11:25. So a little bit of a different format, given there are, I believe, 3 heats in women's K1, so a bit of a larger field for that event.
Yep. So with that, I think, Pierre, we're going to take a little break. We have to adjust the course and get the 200 meter start dock into position. And while we do that, we'll take a break and we'll return for some exciting 200. We're going 1,000 to 200. So we're going to crank it up here with 200 meter heats. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll talk to you in a bit. À bientôt.
Bye.
Hey,
Hey everyone.
Pierre-Luc. Nice to see you again, and thanks everyone for joining. Just hopping back here. It's just 20 after 10 here on Burnaby Lake, and we're gearing up for some fast action now. The K1 200-meter heats are coming up, and this is going to be exciting, Pierre-Luc. We're seeing a couple athletes we haven't seen race yet in this competition, and again, some incredible an incredible level of talent field.
Yeah, K1's 200 has been a really strong event for Canada over the last few years. Big names come out like Mark DeYoung and others that have raised to World Championship medal, Pan Am Games medal, with Kite recently, and some of those. So really strong field here. It'll be exciting. And then some younger athletes too, with Laurent, who would have messaged at the Junior World Championship 2 years ago. So stacked field. We haven't had a chance to see these guys race in a long time. And given the margin of victory, usually on these events, it should be quite exciting to see who can pull off the strongest start here and really carry that through the whole 200 meters. So there'll be two heats this morning, similar format. Winner will go directly to the final that will be held later today, if I'm not mistaken. And the rest of the field, I believe, will go to a semi-final. That'll be middle of the afternoon. Donc, ce matin, on va avoir la course de K1 200 mètres dans quelques minutes pour les hommes. Il y aura 2 éliminatoires et le gagnant passera directement à la finale et les autres seront en semi-finale un petit peu plus tard aujourd'hui. Donc, on sait que c'est une discipline où le Canada a été très, très fort dans les dernières années. Donc, ça va être vraiment le fun de voir ces hommes-là courser. Ça va être bien aussi de voir Laurent, la vigne de Trois-Rivières, voir à quel point il est capable de compétitionner avec les seniors maintenant, surtout qu'il y a eu des bons résultats au niveau junior dans les dernières années. Donc, ça devrait être une bonne course. So yeah, we're really excited. Yep. It should be a good race overall.
Exciting and exciting to see some of these athletes in the K1 200 meter who we haven't seen. As I said, Laurent Lavigne in lane 2. The Trois-Rivières, a very fast paddler. His silver medal at Junior Worlds in 2019 was in the 500 meter event. So exciting to see what he's been able to do as he trains a bit for both the 1,000 and the 200. And in lane 3, Alex Scott, who's raced as Canada 1 before as the entry in K1 200 meters, the World Championships and World Cups. So Alex, I'm sure, is fired up and ready to go with Nick Matviv from Balmy Beach, lane 4. Also focusing equally on this event and also training hard for the K4 500 meter event. So his speed is up. We're excited to see where Nick is at. And in lane 5, Sean Myden, racing for the Greater Edmonton Racing Canoe and Kayak Club. Sean, is a long veteran paddler with a lot of experience lining up here with some of these younger athletes, seeing how he'll stack up here in this heat for the K1 200 meters. Now, Pierre-Luc, this will be interesting to watch everyone line up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can see if you were with us this morning, that dock that now goes across the course wasn't there this morning. So that has to be moved to have the starting blocks in the right place during the day. So this morning, the 1,000 meters and the 500 would have gone through here, and then the starting blocks were moved just now so that someone can hold the back of the boat and have a fair start. For those that are used to watching a lot of international racing and other things, you may have seen the starting blocks that athletes are using. So we're not using that here on Burnaby Lake, but rather are using what we used to use before starting block, which is boat holders. So we have volunteers there holding the backs of the boats and making sure that boats are not moving and are all aligned prior to the start. So that's what you're seeing here, the athletes turning around and backing up to get their boats in position ahead of the race. Ian, would you be able to remind people who is where? I think on the left
I would love
would
to.
be Laurent, right?
Yeah, so actually on
I'm
lane
off.
5
yeah,
is five's on the left here. So
right.
5 all the way on the left is Sean Myden. There you can see him in his green shirt and the plastics, black, white, and red boat. He's in lane 5. Then one boat over is Nicholas Matviv in lane 4. There's Nick getting ready. with the gray nose to his boat. And then to our right here is Alex Scott in lane 3. There's Alex lining up with the white boat. And then in lane 2 on the inside, the Trois-Rivières, Laurent Lavigne.
Yeah, and 200 meters are really they're really fast, right? And the margin for error is minimal. So it'll be crucial for them to nail their first few strokes here and really build up the speed as fast as possible. But it's a bit of a balance because the race is still long enough that you can build too much lactic acid and then it gets you get burned a little bit and people can catch you. So it's balancing a full out sprint with the right level of endurance as you're going through. But we'll see these athletes here jump out of the blocks as fast as possible to get their boat up to speed. So really, and here we go, actually really, really fast start here by Nick and Alex in the middle of the course, and Laurent as well as we're going through, and Sean really coming back here as well. So we're seeing that high stroke rate over a few 100 something stroke rate as we're going through, and you're seeing a lot of glide here, especially through the middle of the race. Nice shot of Nick here as he's coming through, and Alex moving his boat through the water, really flat rate here as we're going through, and Laurent coming in as afterwards. So close finish here, but looks like Nick taking on the first win for this heat this morning, and then moving directly to the final for the K1 200. And we'll see here in the slow motion, so we can see Nick just powering through, and then Alex coming in about a quarter of a nose, quarter of a boat behind. So really small margin of victory here, and then we'll see as the day continues how that will play out in the final. As you said, Ian, a number of these athletes may not have raced yet, so this is their first one, and we'll get some of those nerves out of the way as we're going through the day.
Yep, for sure. And I think those, it's all super important to nail the start. It looked like all three, all the athletes nailed the start there. And certainly I think Nick Matviv with the 35 seconds there.
Yeah, and really close, right? 0.03. So again, 0.028 or 0.28, sorry. So very close. Yeah, I'm not sure if the margin is correct or not here, but anyway, really close results overall. Between the competitors.
There's just a little. We're gonna change that. So we'll just fix that quickly. We'll just do a quick fix to that. But a big win for nice win in the heat for Nick Matviv, and I think he'll be happy. And all these athletes gearing up for that semi. To those that are going there, and Nicholas Matviv will go into directly into the final.
Yeah, no, so great race here by all the athletes. And again, we'll get ready to go into the second one here in a few minutes, again, with a really strong field. All of these athletes are focusing on different events that we can see here. So this one has 3 athletes, Alexandre Martin, de Trois-Rivières, Dominique Crête, de Trois-Rivières as well, in lane 3, and then Marc DeYoung from the Masco Aquatic Club in lane 4. So a lot of name power in this race with Marc's Olympic medals and world championship titles, and being quite successful at the Pan American Games in 2019 as well, winning gold at that event, if I recall correctly. So exciting to see that race come in and those guys going head to head in the K1 here. Trois-Rivières has been a really good and solid club, getting some of the men's kayak athletes onto the national team in the last few years. So shout out to Trois-Rivières. On sait qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui regardent de la région, donc bien content que vous soyez avec nous aujourd'hui.
Right.
Yeah, really strong program there, and Mathieu is now helping with the national team, so a bit of a carryover to help those athletes at the Olympic trials. So we're panning out to the start here, and you can see the 3 athletes. Donc Alexandre on the left, then Dom in the middle, and then Marc to the right. You can see a nice shot here of the athletes going through, and it'll be a quick start again. Super important to nail those first few strokes, and you want to find the right balance of stroke rate and power. And here we go, quick start here.
So I'll help here. Marc DeYoung at the top in the red and white boat from Masquat. Lane 3 in the middle is Dominique Crête, de Trois-Rivières, and aussi de Trois-Rivières en couloir 2, Alexandre Martin. So here we go. Looks like a great start for these guys racing for that top spot, direct to the final. Big push here from all of them.
And we can see a lot of glide coming through. Yeah. Looks like Mark may have a quick nose as we're coming through, and here we go. Yeah, Mark powering through the finish line with Dom slowing down a little bit in the last few strokes, saving a bit of energy for the semifinal that will be coming up a little bit later today. But nice shot here of Dom. Can see like these 200-meter guys are huge, right? Really powerful, need a lot of muscle endurance, but also a lot of explosivity and explosiveness to be able to power the boat really quickly. So a lot of time spent for weight training and on the water, making sure that they're developing the right explosiveness to get that boat up to speed as fast as possible.
That was a great race.
Shot of these guys out there, yeah.
And I think if we can look at the results from the first heat, and then maybe by that time we'll be able to look at the next one. I think we can pop up. So here's the results: 35.2 for Nick and Alex, 35.5, 6.8, 36.3 for Laurent, 38.9 for Sean. Looks like a good solid heat, and maybe we'll check the next event if it's up. No, just waiting on that. So they're just finishing that at the results desk, but it'll be up in a second. But I think, again, Pierre-Luc, just like we saw in the 1,000-meter heats, people have different plans, different things they want to get out of this heat this morning. And so we still have we'll pull that down. They're finishing uploading the times off the system. Just take a second.
Yeah, and 200s are a bit of a different beast, right? Like in the 1,000 meters, you may be able to take one or two bad strokes and catch back up and refocus and attack in a different way. In a 200, you really have to nail your race plan, or you just don't have time to make up for a mistake you may make. So we might see some ups and downs throughout the day, people nailing it in the heats and maybe not in the final. So great to see some strong times as we see the results pop up here. So Marc de Jong taking the win here in a 35.9, and then Dominique Crête in second place with 36.6, and Alexandre rounding up the field in a 38.9. So all these athletes. So Marc will move to the final directly, same as Nick in the other heat, and then Dominique and Alexandre are going to progress to the semifinal that will take place a little bit later today, with a few finals spots on the line for them. So it'll be critical to recover here and get ready for that, especially as 200s basically get all your muscles fired up and full of lactic acid, and then need to make sure you get the right cool down to be able to be very powerful in the next race again. So yeah, I think we do have a few minutes before the next one. I think there's a 45-minute break before the women's K1 500 meters heats. Again, as we mentioned, there will be 3 heats during that race for that event. So a bit of a broader field. So it will be a bit of a different progression, and we can explain what that looks like when we get to it overall. But conditions are holding up, still really nice there. I think it's about 13, 14 degrees and sunny and a light wind, so very fair racing conditions. And we saw yesterday that it got a bit faster during the day with a little bit more wind through that. So we'll see if that plays out a little bit and times get a little bit faster as the day goes on.
Yeah, it's been a good morning so far. It's a bit of a up and down as we go through. We have a couple of finals and then roll into some heats, but great to see everyone paddling and just taking a quick look at the chat here. Lots of people tuning in, supporting Marc de Jong and our friends from Masqua. Lots of names I recognize, and hello to all the supporters for Marc from Masqua, and Zach, head coach at Edmonton, cheering on Sean, representing Greater Edmonton. Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in with us. It's great to have you with us, and we're certainly excited to share this day with you all. So we're going to be back in the next race is in about 45 minutes, just under 45 minutes, at 11:15 our time. So we'll be back just a little after 11 o'clock to watch that. So thanks Merci à tous, and à bientôt. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
The song our paddles sing in the stillness tells the story of a country. It's a song born here that echoes through history. An ode to distance, the unknown. We sweat, burn, push, and fight, not for money, or glory, or accolades, because it reminds us of who we are. Screw loose daredevils and romantic obsessives, most ourselves in the rage and the whip and the whirl, or the reflective silence, before the gun goes. Then we know we're home.
And hi, everyone, and welcome back to our coverage of the Olympic team trials from Burnaby Lake this afternoon. The next slate of races will be the women's kayak K1 500-meter heats. We'll have 3 races coming up for you in the next 15 to 20 minutes. For those joining us just now, we've had some exciting races already this morning. So the women's C2 500 meters and the women's K2 500-meter finals took place earlier today, followed by some heats in the men's C1000, men's K1 200. So those just wrapped up now, and then we're now moving on to the women's K1 500. So you can see the athletes are already on the water and starting to line up in the starting booths here for this first heat. So we have the draw on the screen now. So in lane 1, we'll have Marion Bradley from the Rideau Canoe Club. In lane 2, Courtney Stott from the Balmy Beach Canoe Club. Lane 3, Michelle Russell, a winner of the K1 200 yesterday and the day before from the Chima Aquatic Club. Lane 4 is Alana Bray Lougheed from Burloak. And then in lane 5, Grace Webby from Micmac Aquatic Club. So quite a good number of athletes here that would have raced either in the K4 the last 2 days or in the K2 this morning. So hi, Ian. Thanks for joining us here for the women's K1.
Of course. I've got comments before Pierre-Luc, so I have to put my hat on.
All good. So the athletes are just backing up their boats now in the starting blocks. As you can see, we've moved the starting system or the starting dock from the 200 to the 500, which is why we have this break. So we can see Marin's boat here in lane 1 from the Rideau Canoe Club as she's getting ready into the starting lane. Again, this is the 500-meter event. Nice shot of Courtney here in lane 2 as she's getting ready for the start. Courtney this morning won the first final in the K2 500 meters with Natalie. Nice shot of Michelle here from the Chima Canoe Club. In lane 3, Michelle was the winner of the K1 200 finals earlier yesterday and the day before. Alana here in lane 4, a member of the winning crew in the K4 500 yesterday and the day before, earning her nomination to the Olympic team. It's also part of this race. And then finally, Grace Webby here, fast starter out of Micmac in lane 5. So exciting race here coming up. Again, this is one of the marquee event of the women's kayak program. So I'm sure there's a lot of the community getting really excited to see this as it's been a staple on the Olympic program for a long time. And we've had some enormous success in Canada in this event over the last few years. So again, this is a first of 3 heats. So all the athletes will progress to the semifinal, right, Ian, if I'm not mistaken? Maybe you can explain the progression as it's a bit different from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, just 1 second, Pierre-Luc, as I pull that up. Just watching here, Grace at the top of the screen.
Yeah, so we'll have Grace, then Alana, then Michelle, Courtney, and Marin from the left to your right. And we can see athletes are just getting started here. Gun goes and really trying to go up to speed as fast as possible and then transition into that race pace as they're hitting the 50 to 100 meter line throughout this 500. That's a great start for all the athletes here going through.
Yeah, sorry, Pierre-Luc. So this is our only event with 3 heats. It's exciting to have 3 heats for sure. It's top 3 from each heat go directly into the semis, and then the next 3 fastest times overall will go to the semis.
Great. So lots on the line here to make it through that first step. It's a good opportunity to test your K1 500 race plan, given these athletes haven't had a chance to race this distance in a long time. So strong start from Michelle here and Alana on the left-hand side of your screen. And we're seeing Grace here power through as well on the left as well. Courtney here doing a good push in the middle of the screen here as well. So all these athletes would be focusing on their race plan, especially approaching the halfway point on the race, when the lactic acid starts to burn a little bit, and you have to make sure you're keeping that stroke quite long to maximize the glide of the boat as we're going through. So strong start from Michelle here as she's putting a lot of speed in the first half of the race.
So they're through the 200 there, Pierre-Luc, heading into now the last 100 for Michelle in the middle in lane 3. Looks like Alana's having a good race. Good form here. It's pushing top 3 go direct, and they're going to be pushing for those times to make sure they're to the semifinals. Top in the next 3 fastest times.
And even if there isn't like directly a spot to the final, you really want to, we spoke about confidence on the stream this morning, making sure that you have a good race, you know your race plan is working, you feel comfortable, and we can see that from Michelle here as she's winning that first race, and then close call for second here between Courtney and Alana, with the other 2 athletes just rounding up the field here. So great first heat in the women's kayak, in the women's K1 500, as we're kicking off this first of 3 heats. And we can see here the close finish for second place, with maybe Courtney just nipping Alana there at the end, but we'll see when the results come out. Too close to call on this one. It's a nice shot of Michelle here.
You see Maren Bradley there in lane 1, Pierre-Luc pushing with Grace as well to get that fastest time. So good heads up paddling from them both, as they need to push and get that time to get into those semis. Yeah, you're right. Michelle's had a great weekend so far, a great competition, and she's looking to keep that rolling into the 500-meter event. And we got lots of Chima support on the chat. Go ahead, Pierre.
I was going to ask, have the condition changed a little bit? It looks like there's a little bit of a wind from this morning. Is that a bit of a tailwind that we seem to be seeing on the course?
Yeah, it's a touch. The wind's coming up slightly. It's still really not much to speak of, but it would be looks like a pretty direct tailwind coming down now. Maybe a little bit of right in it, but not much. A little bit from the right, but mostly a tailwind.
Well, that's great. So we'll keeping conditions really fair. Yeah, exactly. And we'll take a look at the times and see if they're reflected in there. Yeah, I think it's always great when your time's getting a bit faster throughout the day. Feel like whenever you're putting a little bit more as you get closer to the finals. So we're seeing like a strong showing here from Michelle with a 155.5, followed by Courtney and Alana really close together in the 157s, and then we'll keep a look at those times for Grace Webby and Maren Bradley here with their 2 minutes flat to see if that is good enough to make them go through to the semifinal for later this afternoon. So strong showing here from all these athletes and senior athletes that with a lot of experience racing this event are coming out on top in this first heat. So we're up back now at the starting line for the second heat. We can see here a nice shot of Alexa Irvin and Maddie Schmidt in lane 2 and 3 as they're backing up to the starting line. So Pride from Masqua here on the screen. Bit of a personal favorite as well. So try not to be to show too much favoritism during the race here.
So we got everyone lining up here, Pierre-Luc. Some of the local wildlife coming to check out the race.
So Alexa here on the right, then Maddie, then Natalie, and then I think Anna from
Anna Neglich in lane 5. Yep, correct. Yeah. So Anna's at the top of the screen in red and white boat. Natalie in that distinctive boat, red and black. Maddie Schmidt in the striped blue and white and orange Ottawa River shout out colors, and on the inside Alexa Irvin. Look to see what kind of form we see
a really
from
good race
these athletes. Exactly.
And again, keep in mind that no one's going straight to the final, but these times are really important to move to the semi as a stepping stone toward the final that will take place a little bit later today. So that's a really important part to the day. And we're off now with a strong start from all of these athletes as they're powering through the first 100 meters. And again, trying to get your boat up to speed and maximizing the glide without too much effort so that you have a lot of energy left for the second half and a final push towards the finish. A nice shot here, as you can see, with the Rockies in the back and the athletes heading towards the finish line. Seems like the birds have gotten out of the way, so it'll be a bit of a clean go for that lane there. So strong start here, it looks, from Maddie and Natalie, really bringing the rate down a little bit and letting the boat work for them and gliding through. With Anna and Alexa, who are teammates at Masqua, racing here to make sure that they're in the mix as well and racing towards the finish. They're approaching the midway point of the race here, so about a minute in, and that's when it starts to hurt a little bit. And you got to make sure that you keep your focus and your race plan in play, and making sure that you're doing everything that you've been training so much for. So we're seeing Maddie pick up the rate a little bit here, and Natalie, and then Alexa making a move from third here, trying to push it and grab a spot in that semifinal. So it'll be a close finish here again. Top three will make it directly, and the fourth will have to look at their time compared to the other races to make it to the semi. So Maddie just cruising. So interesting here. You can see those long strokes, yeah.
Seeing a little bit of a pickup from Maddie. Yep, looks like she decided she wanted to get a little more power on the stroke, get ahead. You see her being matched. Also, Alexa putting up in a push. Those top three athletes will look to protect their top three spots, knowing that they're going to go through to the semis and do what they need to do, and then the next athletes pushing for those times.
Yeah, there so close Grace for second here between Natalie and Alexa, and then Anna coming in fourth here. So we'll be looking at her time. A bit of a tighter field here for these four athletes as we're going through, and you can see the other athletes at the top, Michelle and Grace, eagerly looking on this to know who they're going to be racing in the semifinals later today. So great race here from Maddie, taking the win here and moving directly to the semifinal. So they'll head to boat control now and cool down, and then get ready for the semis that are coming in a few hours. It's a busy day for women's kayak, who would have raced K2 earlier today as well, for a lot of them. So management of the effort is really crucial. But it looks like Maddie was pleased there. Nice smile on her face as she's coming through. Yeah, so kudos to all the athletes as they're coming through, and I'm sure the results will pop soon, and we'll be able to confirm that close finish between second and third. So again, that was the second heat of the women's K1 500 meters, and we'll have the third heat in just a few minutes, and that will round out the women's K1 500 meter event, and we'll know who will be able to make it to the semifinals later today. So we're back up at the start line for the third heat. And so you can see in lane 2, we have Sarah Nagy. In lane 3, Andréane Langlois de Trois-Rivières. In lane 4, Lisa Bissonnette de Pointe-Claire. And in lane 5, Adri Lilia Sande from the Micmac Aquatic Canoe Club. So big representation here from Ontario, Quebec, and Nova Scotia for a lot of these athletes. I'll do a bit of a shout out to the Pointe Claire Canoe Club, where I spent a lot of my years paddling. So if there's anyone watching from Pointe Claire, hello everybody. It's nice to be able to have you with us today. And we got to start here for this race. So really strong start from Sarah here. You can see really picking up the pace from lane 2. Andréane in the multicolor boat, really strong starter, with Lisa as well in the middle. And I'm forgetting also who's on the outside, but great start from everyone here.
Yeah,
it's Adri. Adri also starting. There you go.
Adri is at the top, then Lisa in 4, Andréane in 3, and Sarah Nagy in 2. And it's great to see Pierre-Luc here. You know, the veteran women's kayak leaders of the team, and also some of these young U23 athletes who in 2019 made history at the Junior Worlds, winning a bronze medal, the first bronze medal in K4 for women's kayak at the Junior World. So it's exciting to see how they're improving, Pierre, and sort of the next generation learning from the veterans and seeing them push here. It's great to see.
Yeah, especially knowing that the next Olympics are not that far away now that we're a year further. So having that next group push and get ready is really important. So seeing Adrienne and in the middle here with the multicolor and black boat, and really having a good strong first half of the race, controlling this with Lisa, and then the other two athletes trying to mount a push for the second half of the race as we're coming through. Nice shot of the athletes here, really making sure they stick to their race plan as they're coming through and keeping that rate high enough so that the boat doesn't sit back down on the water and loses a lot of speed. So once again, all these athletes, three of them, the top three, will move directly to the semifinal, and the fourth will have to look at their time with regard compared to their peers to know who will advance. So really important to come in the top three here, so they'll keep pushing till the finish line. It looks like Adrienne will wrap up this with about a boat length, taking the win, followed by Lisa, and then Adri taking the third place here over Sarah. So close race, and then we'll look till the results come out so that we can see who's progressing to the semifinal. But nice shot here of Lisa on her last few strokes as she's crossing the finish line. Lisa strong result yesterday in K1 200, coming up a second place as well. And we'll do a cycle a little bit from all the results after the three heats, so people can see how those have gone through as a summary of the event in a few minutes when they're available. But yeah, strong showing from these women here, heading for a bit of a cool down on Lake Burnaby in the good weather and everything that we are having today. So few congratulations in passing, as you see, and then people are getting ready for the next one. So we'll put the first heat on the screen for results as a bit of a recap of what would have happened in the women's kayak. So you'd recall, so Michelle Russell taking the win there with Courtney and Alana, so making it to the semifinal. And then the second race, Madeline, Natalie, and Alexa. So we hadn't seen those results yet, but coming through. So very close for second and third here, as you can see, 0.008. And then in the third race, Andrea, Lisa, and Adri taking the top three. So we'll have to look for times on who will continue to progress those two next times. I think, if my math is right, we'll advance to the semifinals later today. So exciting to see those three heats again. This is the only event where we had three heats. Lots of women as part of this program, 3 full K4s and an additional athlete here. So the program is quite big, and it shows with strong performances overall. So happy to see all of them out there and being able to compete at this level. And good representation from a number of canoe clubs, which is always exciting to see that we have a really strong development network that's able to push athletes on the national team across the country.
Yeah, and a super strong team, as you said, Pierre-Luc, from our women's kayak, and just great that this group has been trained together as a unit through the winter, through these extremely difficult conditions in terms of COVID-19, and being able to train, and just nice to see that they're all out there competing as teammates and competitors to see those three heats, and excited to see. I think some hints there that this final could be quite interesting to see who makes the final out of these semis, first of all, because it's a little different when there's no directs. So the very fastest athletes, the people who are feeling great today, are going to be in the semis. So I think we'll get some very fair semis and some good indication leading into the final. So that semi for women's kayak is going to be around at 2:30, 2:35, and then at 4:45 this afternoon, our local time here in Burnaby, we'll see what should be a pretty exciting final one for women's K1 500 meters. So I think the athletes are going to go.
This would be the only event where we have two semifinals. So again, because there were three heats, they'll progress to two semis, and then out of that to a 6-boat final. So crucial to recover and get ready for that next step, as making it to that final is necessary to be able to continue to progress towards the Olympics as part of
these heats. That's why these heats are important, right? Pierre-Luc, is when you go you and I have raced a number of tough semis coming up as young canoe athletes when basically our semifinals were our finals for that year to try to make the final. And who's in your semi and the seeding in the semis is based on these heats. So that's why we saw some good efforts, some good times coming through, and we are going to be excited to watch those semifinals. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We're now on a lunch break. It's 11:30 here, and we're going to be back for some semifinal action, starting with the 1,000-meter men's C1 1,000-meter semi. That's going to be at 1 p.m. local time. So we'll be back then, Pierre. Thank you, as Pierre-Luc, for joining from Dartmouth, and it's been great to connect this morning. And there's a lot of excitement coming this afternoon. So thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you in a little bit.